Upon being booked in, the cases were formally accused by the Solicitor General's Office of Fulton County. Hence, when I call the defendant's case, I will let you know what is your new case number, what charges have been brought against you, to appoint counsel to represent you if necessary, and to set a bond. For some of the cases, we will also give you a new court date of February 27th at 9 a.m., which is going to be a Zoom proceeding, a virtual proceeding. So anyone planning to attend the February 27th, 9 a.m. calendar would have to obtain a Zoom link from the clerk's office. If you're a defendant charged with one or more misdemeanor offenses, please remember the following. The first thing is you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say in open court, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to represent you. Today, when we address your cases, we are not only going to look at the charges brought against you, we will also hopefully be able to look at your criminal record history and also consider the circumstances of the case and the warrants. From this information, a bond will be set in your case. You may qualify for what we call a signature bond. That would either be through the jail or through pretrial services. In either event, if you receive a signature bond, you won't have to pay for the bond today, but you would have to comply with certain conditions, such as no contact with the victim or stay away from the location. If you violate any of those conditions, your signature bond could be revoked and amended to either a cash bond or a surety bond. For those who do not qualify for a signature bond today, you may receive a surety bond or a cash bond. For those type of bonds, you would have to pay for it out of your own pocket or through a bonding company. And in those particular cases, you will also receive a court date of February 27th, 2024 at 9 a.m. Who do we have in the seat right now?
Position 11, Miss Weston.
Oh, okay. We're going to AC/DC first. Sorry, I haven't had time to print the calendar, but I've got it on the screen. All right. Position 11 is Miss Whiterius Weston, accused of battery on February 11th, 2024. Case number is 24CR739. Ms. Weston, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Ms. Hoda Ate. Would that be correct? Ms. Ate, you're in courtroom 2?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. And Mr. Howard, any priors?
17 total. 2023 trespass and no-load. 2014 sale of marijuana. 2013 simple battery DV. And the 07 ag assault dead docket. I'll be back. I'm about to go get this calendar off the printer.
All right. Mr. Graham, what's the state's recommendation?
Thank you, Your Honor. This incident took place on February 11th. Law enforcement responded to 1483 Arthur Langford Jr. Place, Southwest Atlanta, to a fight call at the location. Upon arrival, the officer spoke with Alwinded, Alwinded, Thomas, who advised that Whiterius Weston repeatedly punched him in the face and bit him on the left hand. A witness also stated that Miss Weston chased Mr. Thomas throughout the property. The responding officer observed blood dripping from Mr. Thomas's left hand from the bite. He also sustained a busted lip, swollen left eye, and a knot on the left side of his forehead. And based on the history and the severity of these injuries, the state is requesting a $1,000 surety bond, 1-day anger awareness, no further contact with Mr. Thomas, stay away from 1483 Arthur Langford Jr. Place, Southwest, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons while out on bond.
All right. Ms. Ate?
Yes, Your Honor. My client does deny the allegations. And I think you heard that all the recent history is just a 2023 trespass. Everything else is over 10 years ago.
Anything else?
No, yes, Your Honor, I would like to ask for a signature bond through pretrial services and nothing further.
All right. Bond is set at $3,000. It's a signature bond through pretrial services. Miss Weston, you can sign up for your bond, but it'll be through pretrial. You have to have no contact with Wyndham Thomas, stay 200 yards away from him, and do not
Okay.
communicate with him in any way, form, or manner. You're
Yes,
also
ma'am.
to stay away from 1483 Arthur Langford Place in Southwest Atlanta. You're not to return to that location.
I have no problem with that, ma'am. Thank you so much. So I will be getting a signature bond.
That's correct. But if you get arrested again, or
You don't
if
have to worry about that. I would not get arrested.
or if you do not report to pretrial services once a month, or you violate the other conditions of your bond, your signature bond will be revoked and converted to a cash bond or a surety bond. $3,000 is a large amount, so please make sure you do everything to preserve that. And we'll see you in court. Make sure your address is current with the court. If you do not give us a current address
I
and you
gave
don't
it,
show up, your failure to appear will also be grounds to set aside the signature bond. Thank you. Next
Okay,
case,
I gave it to her.
What was the bond?
3,000 signature bond for pretrial.
Of course. What was the level?
1.
Contact.
No
Oh, that's-
contact, stay away.
Thank you.
Okay.
And Your Honor, I'm sorry, before too much time goes by, I wanted to check because we interviewed at least, we just got the calendar. We interviewed at least 5 people that aren't on the calendar. So
All right.
Vanilla, I don't know.
Just go ahead and call the ones you've interviewed, and then we'll take a recess for you to complete the interviews.
No, we've interviewed them, but they're not on the calendar.
Oh, they're not on the calendar.
Your Honor.
Yeah, there's a lot
Incomplete.
missing from the calendar.
Okay, have you interviewed the rest of the people? Okay, tell me what, so we've just addressed Miss Weston, right?
Yes.
Okay. And who have you interviewed positions 1 through 10 on the calendar?
Yeah, everybody's been interviewed.
Everybody on the calendar has been interviewed. There are people that are not on the calendar who we interviewed.
Well,
So
let
the
me address those who are on the calendar, then we'll take up the ones who are not on the calendar. Maybe by then they'll be accused and we might get a supplement.
I hope so.
Okay, let's start with the gentleman seated next to you. Who is that?
He's not on the calendar, but this is Mr. Screen, Miss.
All right, so
Green.
Mr. Screen will be addressed when we get those. Let's address those on the calendar.
Because they're not on the calendar.
All right, so,
Deputy, can we call those on the calendar?
okay. Go back. Yeah. I gotta see, because not everything's all jumbled up here.
Is there a Lisa Bateman?
Bond was posted,
Okay, thank you.
position number 2 was, bond was paid.
All right.
Position number 3,
Yes, sir.
Curtis. Jonathan
Jonathan Curtis?
Curtis, yeah, we have him. Yeah, come on, see, that's just messed up my order at the road.
And I'm sorry to interrupt, but Bonilla, their last name is actually Morrow or Mora. They are position 6.
Yes.
All right, are we addressing Jonathan Curtis right now?
That is correct.
We are, but someone mentioned Morrow earlier, and I just want to let them know they are on the calendar, just under a different name. That's all. But I'm ready for
Walker?
position 6.
Let's focus on the ones we have in the seat right now.
Okay.
This is Jonathan Curtis, case 24 CR 731, accused of simple battery from October 2nd, 2023. Mr. Curtis, you have been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Mr. Cook, seated next to you. Any priors, Mr. Howard?
18 total. 2023 obstruction, battery, disorderly conduct, assault on a family member. FTAs from 2019, 2021, 2022, 2023.
In which jurisdiction? In Fulton County?
That assault on a family member was out of state. Some of that stuff is out of state.
Yes, Your Honor. In this case, law enforcement was dispatched to the Motel Economy Inn at 99950 Dogwood Road. They met with the victim, Mr. Michael Potts. Mr. Potts is an employee at their location. From my understanding, the defendant was a guest or someone who was at the motel. A verbal altercation occurred, at which point the defendant did spit in the face of the victim. We are asking for a signature bond through pretrial services, a stay away, no contact with Mr. Michael Potts, a 2-day anger awareness, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol while out on bond.
Does he have a local address? Atlanta, Georgia address?
I'll defer to counsel.
Mr. Cook?
He had listed the hotel,
Well, he's not going back there, so.
I understand, let me.
That would be a no.
I'll figure it out.
Okay, Your Honor, he does have some, he does not have to return to that location, that's a hotel, he can go elsewhere.
Well, that's true, but in order to get a signature bond, we need to know where to send him our Christmas cards, so we need a local address.
You have a local address?
Not off the top of my head, the hotel that I stay in is the Motel 6.
Okay.
You're not going back there.
No, that's the Economy Hotel.
Oh, you got another hotel. Okay.
But that's the instant location, the Economy Motel.
Yes, the other hotel is right next to it.
Okay. You have to stay 200 yards away from that motel, so that's going to be a problem. But that's a problem I think you'll have to resolve. The bond is set at $500. It's a surety bond. No contact with what was his name? Mr. Michael Potts?
Michael Potts. Yes,
And
ma'am.
stay 200 yards away from 9995 Old Dogwood Road. Please make sure to update us with your current mailing address, phone number, and email. And your next court date is going to be February 27th. Thank you.
You done?
Next case, please.
You done? Curtis, he has to talk to you back here. So we'll hold the seat right there. Next, we're going to position number 4, Mr. Donaldson.
You said Diallo?
Position number 4, Mr. Ernest Donaldson.
Donaldson.
Okay, thank you.
This is State versus Ernest Donaldson, case number 24 CR 732. Mr. Donaldson has been accused of battery, family violence, and theft by taking, stemming from a February 10th, 2024 incident. Mr. Donaldson, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Mr. Cook. Any priors, Mr. Howard?
15 total. 2023 possession of a weapon by a convicted felon. 2018 violation of protection order, damage to property conviction. That was out of state. That's all.
When were these convictions, please?
2018.
All right. That's enough. Thank you so much. Mr.
Yes,
Walker?
Your Honor. In this case, law enforcement was dispatched to 3000 Manziel Road, where they spoke to the victim, Miss Janie. I'm sorry, let me read my own handwriting. I'm gonna say Peach, but I'll confirm that. But where they spoke to the victim, she advised that the defendant elbowed her in the mouth. The officer did observe swelling and laceration on her lip, and from my understanding, he also took her iPhone. I believe that there should be. Is there only one count on the calendar?
That's two, battery, family
Okay, so
violence, and theft by taking.
The theft by taking is taking her iPhone. The state is asking for a $1,500 surety bond on each count. Stay away from the incident location. No contact with the victim. No weapons, drugs, or alcohol while out on bond.
Mr. Howard, the violation of the protective order, was that in 2018 as well? Tucson? Oh, Mr. Walker, if you have this GCIC, I've just,
I could pull it. It'll take me a second to pull it up, but I'll defer to Mr. Howard.
all right.
The
Well, I don't
victim's
know.
name-
I believe that's out of state. For what it's worth, he lives in Minnesota, that's where he's heading to, that's where he would like to go back to immediately, if he can get out.
What
I'm
is-
having a hard time hearing, but I heard that the defendant lives out of state, I think.
That's what I heard.
Yeah, he lives in Minnesota, he's a truck driver, He has no problem with any stay away. But he doesn't have a lot of money at this time, so we would be asking for a signature only bond. And I think the other offenses are out of state too, probably Minnesota.
Well, out of state still keeps it within the homeland of the
Yes, ma'am.
United States. Thank you.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Cook, what is your recommendation? I can tell you right now, a signature bond's out of the question.
Okay, well, again, we have no problem with any stay away from the alleged victim. And I think her name is Janie Dean, is how I have it, DEA.
Yeah, that would be correct.
I'll put it in the
Dean.
chat.
Okay. We would just want the lowest surety bond that the judge deems appropriate, so he can at least get out and start making a living. And
Okay. Mr. Tucson Howard,
Yes.
on Donaldson, where was the conviction for the violation of the protective order?
Twenty 2018.
In which jurisdiction?
I think it was out of state, Judge. I didn't write down that.
Okay, that's fine. On the battery family violence, that's going to be a $2,000 surety. On the theft by taking is a $500 surety. Total bond is $2,500. He can either pay cash or go through a bonding company. No further contact with Janee Dean, Jhanee. He has to stay, Dean is Dean. Stay 200 yards away from Miss Dean. Do not communicate with her in person or indirectly through mail, email, phone, or even on social media. He is also to stay away from 3000 Mansell Road. I'm assuming that's in Alpharetta, Georgia. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, and no weapons and no firearms. Given Mr. Donaldson's prior convictions, he is not allowed by law to own or possess or have a firearm anywhere near him. If he gets arrested again, or he fails to show up in court, his bond will be revoked and we'll keep him in jail until his trial date. Thank you.
thank you.
If he's still in the Fulton County Jail, his next court date is February 27th.
Next, we're going to position number 5, Mr. Rodney Gresham.
Rodney Gresham is accused of battery family violence from January 18th, 2024. The accusation number is 24CR733. Incident date appears to be January 18th of this year. Mr. Gresham, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Mr. Cook. Any priors, Mr. Howard?
6 total. 2013 FTA. 2012 robbery, ag assault conviction. On probation for that. 2014, they gave him 7 years to serve and 5 years probation. That's it.
Where's the probation?
Judge, I ain't write down no probations.
Okay.
What year was it? I'm sorry, was that 2012?
Hold on. Yeah, it was a 2012 arrest. And he got sentenced in 2014.
And you
Okay.
said 7 years probation? So
They
it
gave him
was
7, no. They gave him 7 years to serve, followed by then 5 years probation. So it's a 12-year sentence
all right. Got it.
based on the
Okay.
time.
In this case, law enforcement was dispatched at 1842 Marcone Street. That's spelled Markone. They met with the victim. Her name is Rhonda Gresham. She advised the defendant is her brother. They were having a verbal disagreement about her brother partaking in illicit drugs in her home, at which time he became violent. He did grab her by the neck. The officer did observe this with injuries on the victim. The state is asking for a $2,500 surety bond. No contact with the victim, Miss Rhonda Gresham. Stay away from that instant location. No weapons, drugs, or alcohol while on bond. And I will note that he was booked in on a second charge. That was an obstruction charge. the state will be submitting an NOD on that particular charge.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Walker. Ms. Rhonda Gresham, if you want to add to the proceedings, may I place you under oath?
Yes, ma'am.
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. What would you like to tell us?
Yes, first I would like to say that the police report that was written is incorrect. I did not tell the police that we had an argument due to my brother have taken drugs in my home. I've never seen him take any drugs in my home, so that was not, the police report was definitely written incorrect, and they should have a video of the statement that I actually gave them. Also,
In what way was it incorrect? Well, what was the correct version?
I approached my brother about behavior. I had got a phone call from a friend of his about his behavior, and I approached him to talk about it. He didn't want to talk about it, so I said, okay, let's talk about you know, what's going on with as far as his mental health, because he has been dealing with those challenges for quite some times now that I've been trying to get him to go get the proper professional help that he needs.
Okay.
So that
Anything else that needs to be corrected from the prosecutor's assessment?
I also heard that a restraining order or
No, I just want to know about the version of events. Anything else that needs to be corrected?
as far as the police report.
Anything else that what the prosecutor just told us about the case?
No, not other than what he said that was stated on the report.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Cook,
May I inquire of the witness, Your Honor?
I beg your pardon?
May I inquire of the witnesses?
You may.
Ms. Gresham, are you afraid of Rodney?
Am I afraid of my brother?
Yes.
No, I'm not afraid of him. I'm afraid of his mental health and
Okay,
what.
that's fine. I mean, physically, you're not physically afraid of your brother.
No.
So you would desire further contact with him?
Yes, as long as he's not violent and he agrees to go get the proper help that he needs.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right, thank you.
I just have one question, Your Honor, briefly, if I can. Hi, Ms. Gresham. My name is Ian Walker. I'm the prosecutor. Is it accurate that you told the officer that your brother grabbed you by the neck, or is that also not correct?
That is accurate.
He did grab you by the throat or the neck. I'm sorry.
All right, Mr. Cook, what is your recommendation for the bond?
Your Honor, in light of the priors, I assume the court would do something in the area of a surety bond. We would hope it to be a low surety bond, but we would like no further violent contact since he lives at the Dogwood Trail location. At this point, financially, he's a music engineer and producer, so his income is off and on. We've heard from Ms. Gresham. She's an adult, intelligent adult, and I think a no further violent contact rather than stay away would be appropriate. Again, certainly I would ask for a signature only bond, but I realize that's probably not in the realm of possibility at this point.
Bond is set at 3,500. That is a surety bond. Next court date is February 27th. Mr. Gresham, you are to have no further contact with Rhonda Gresham. You're to stay 200 yards away from her. You are not to communicate with her from this point onwards, either from the jail or from anywhere else. Not in person, not through phone, media, social media, computer, cell phone, through a third party and so forth. Once you make bond, it will be highly recommended, as your sister has indicated, that you either undergo an alcohol and drug evaluation and submit yourself to any treatment that's required. Apparently, that seems to be the stumbling block as to why your sister is very concerned about your situation, where she apparently believes that your MH issues may trigger a violent outburst. I'm not certain about that. I'm just letting you know that that's my recommendation. I'm not going to force you to do it. You're a grown man. You can decide what you want to do. But unfortunately, where it comes time to release, it is a $3,500 surety bond, no contact with Rhonda Gresham, and you cannot return to 1842 Marcon Street in Atlanta, Georgia. If you are living there, once you bond out, you're permitted a one-time visit with a police officer to retrieve your personal belongings. However, your personal belongings cannot involve any illegal drugs and definitely cannot involve any firearms or weapons. As a convicted felon, you're not allowed to own any firearms or weapons, whether it be in your car, on your person, or in your home. Once you're released, also, you're to update the court with your current mailing address, which cannot be with Ms. Gresham. Thank you.
Your Honor.
Listening?
So I asked that if he could have some type of mental health advocate for
I've
him.
already told him to get one.
So you all are not able to
It's
issue.
up to his attorney to determine if he needs to be evaluated by a social worker and then and avail himself of the mental health court.
We will look at that. It depends on how quickly it gets out, but I'll ask the social worker.
Yeah.
And why is he has no contact at all when I've asked for just no contact with?
Based on the prosecutor's statement, based on his criminal history record, and based on your statements that you made in open court. Thank you. You're free to go.
Next, we have position number 9, Townson Anthony.
Give me the name again, please.
Anthony Townson.
Okay. This is Anthony Thompson. I'm sorry. Okay, there we go. This is position 9. Anthony Townson is accused of simple battery. The accusation is 24 CR 737. Incident date is February 11th, 2024. Mr. Townson, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Ms. Atay.
18 total, 2022 ag assault, ag battery, possession of a knife or firearm during the commission.
Okay, can we verify whether that is his current history? He seems to be kind of. We have a Anthony Townson. Date of birth is January 20th, 1993. Is that his date of birth?
Graham, what you have?
Let me check. 1 second, please.
Anthony Townsend. Let's see.
I have date of birth January 20th, 1993.
Do you have his GCIC, Mr. Graham?
That's what I'm looking at here.
Yeah, I got it pulled up. Hold on, Judge. I got January 20th, 93.
Yeah.
Yeah, he got 18 cycles. Hey, Judge, he playing. Come on. 18 total, 2022 ag assault, ag battery, possession of a knife, firearm during the commission. 2022 shoplifting, failure to appear. 2020 criminal damage to property. 2019 obstruction, tampering with evidence, trespass. 2019 trespass, no low. 2018.
That's good. That's good. Thank you.
All right.
Mr. Graham, with regards to Mr. Townsend.
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. This incident took place on February 11, 2024. Law enforcement responded to a shoplifting call at the Citco gas station located at 655 Cleveland Avenue Southwest, Atlanta. Upon arrival, they spoke with Albert Outerbridge, Outerbridge, one of the store clerks who advised that Anthony Townsend entered the gas station, attempted to take some items without paying. Mr. Townsend became upset when he was confronted. A verbal altercation ensued. Mr. Townsend then took out a can of pepper spray and sprayed Mr. Outerbridge in the face and all over his body, resulting in a physical altercation. Afterwards, Mr. Townsend grabbed his belongings, walked down on Cleveland Avenue. He was located by law enforcement near the Chevron station nearby, was taken into custody without further incident. Your Honor, based on the history and the last couple of shopliftings that involved weapons, the state is requesting $1,000 surety bond, no further contact with Albert Outerbridge, stay away from the Citgo at 655 Cleveland Avenue Southwest, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons while out on bond.
And how do you pronounce the victim's last name?
I'm sorry, Your Honor, it's Outerbridge.
Outerbridge. Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Ms. Atay? Oh, yes, sorry.
Your Honor, my client is 31 years old. He has lived in Georgia all his life. He does deny the allegations as stated in the warrant and states that the complaining witness was the first aggressor. He does suffer from several severe health conditions. I have requested a social worker to visit him. I believe he just needs help with housing and shelter, and he can stay away from that location and he can stay away from the complaining witness. He also is aware of how to report to pretrial services. So I would request a signature bond through pretrial services level 1, Your Honor, and nothing further.
All right. Bond is set at $1,000. It's a surety bond. No contact with Albert Outerbridge. Stay away from the Citgo at 655 Cleveland Avenue. He's not to return to that location. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, and no weapons. Next court date is February 27th. Thank you.
What we doing? So I gotta get $100, yeah?
Mr. Townsend, you got $1,000 surety bond. You would have to pay for it. If you cannot afford your bond, we will see you on February 27th.
Well, I can get all type of problems. Come on. What's your name?
Next, we have
Thank you.
position number 9, Leonardo Morrow.
Oh, did you say Morrow?
Yes.
Or
Ian, you-
Leonardo Mora? Okay, got it.
That's Bonilla, right, Ian?
Yeah, I think Bonilla is
Okay.
the middle name.
Okay.
All right. Mr. Walker, is that the correct name? Leonardo?
Morrow is the correct last name on the pull sheet. I think it says Bonillo. I think that's the person's middle or his middle name. But I mean,
Okay.
counsel is sitting right there, so he can clarify if he would like.
I have position 6 on the calendar for this individual, case number 24CR 734, Leonardo, last name Mora, Mora, accused of theft by taking from September 18th, 2023. Mr. Morrow, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Mr. Cook. Any priors, Mr. Howard?
Ian, you got 4 total? That's what I got.
Yes, go ahead.
All right, 2023 theft by deception, manufacturer sell false ID document. That's all.
In this case, Your Honor, law enforcement was dispatched to 2965 Bar Court. The defendant stole an iPad Air from the victim, Miss Nia Jordan, that's her apartment location. We're asking for a $1,500 surety bond, a no contact with the victim, Miss Nia Jordan, and stay away from 2965 Bar Court. No weapons, drugs, or alcohol while out on bond.
Mr. Howard, the 2023 theft by deception, when was that arrest?
2023?
Yeah, I mean, is there this
That
incident?
was out of state, I think. I want to say it was out of state.
Okay, this one's from September 18th, 23. So I'm.
Let me look it up real quick.
All right, Mr. Cook, while we're waiting. Yes, sir.
Your Honor, my client has lived in the Atlanta area about a year and in Georgia about 4 years. He's a part-time barber. He doesn't make a lot of money. He has one child, about 6 months old, who lives with my client. We have no problem with any of the stay away or non-contact provisions, but we would be looking for a signature only bond at a level that the court deems appropriate.
Yeah, I'm just wondering where there's another open theft case. So, and when was that?
Yeah, so let me give you the for the one I gave you, that was July 2023 out of Cornelia Police Department. Before that, you got a theft by receiving 3 counts with a trespass and window tint, and theft by possession of stolen mail. This is out of Barrow County. This is April 2023. What else? He got identity theft, fraud, and suspended license arrest from 2022 out of Snellville.
Thank you. Bond set at 3,500. That's going to be a surety bond. No contact with Mia Jordan and to stay away from 2965 Far Code. Mr. Morrow has a surprising list of crimes of moral turpitude in a very short time frame. Next court date is February 27th.
Next, we have position number 7, Kenyatta Pop.
This is State versus Kenyatta Pop, case number 24CR 735, accused of simple battery from January 25th, 2024. Ms. Pop, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Ms. Atay. Mr. Howard?
5 total. 2022 battery, 2018 simple battery, first offender. That's all.
Mr. Graham?
Thank you, Your Honor. This incident took place January 25th, 2024. Kenyatta Pop and an unknown male subject boarded the train car number 241, sat behind Sharon Lockerbie and began to smoke from an unknown object. Ms. Pop became angry and aggressive when Ms. Lockerbie told them that they could not smoke while they were inside of the train car. Ms. Lockerbie then stood up to press the emergency button for help. On the way back to her seat, Ms. Pop lunged at her and punched her in the hand, causing some pain. The unknown male and Ms. Pop exit the train. Law enforcement was able to review the surveillance footage. They created a bolo for Ms. Pop. She was taken into custody on February 11th, I believe, at the Lindbergh MARTA station, where she confirmed she was a suspect fitting the description. Our office has not been in touch with, has not been able to reach the victim at this time. And the state is requesting a signature bond through pretrial services, 1-day anger awareness, no further contact with Sharon Lockerbie, stay away from the MARTA in compliance with any suspensions, no drugs, weapons, or alcohol.
Ms. Atay, any objection with the stay away from the MARTA in accordance with suspension?
I have no objection with the stay away from MARTA. But I will say that my client does firmly deny the allegations. I mean, the incident occurred January 25th and she was supposedly identified February 12th. And I don't know who confirmed that she matches the description or that it was her, but she firmly denies the allegations. She doesn't smoke and certainly not on the MARTA, so.
All right, bond is set at 2,500. Is a signature bond through pretrial services, level 1. To stay away from all MARTA property in accordance with any outstanding suspension, have no contact with Sharon Lockerbie, and no alcohol, no illegal drugs, and no weapons and firearms.
Yeah, ma'am.
If you fail to report to court or fail to report to pretrial, or if you get arrested again, the $2,500 signature bond is revoked. Thank you.
Next, we have position number 8, Stephon Thompson.
Thompson. All right. Mr. Stefan Thompson's case number is 24CR 736. 3 charges have been brought against him stemming from a February 7th, 2024 incident. Simple battery, family violence, terroristic threats and acts, a misdemeanor, and cruelty in the 3rd degree. Mr. Thompson, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Ms. Atay. This is position 8. Yes,
Five.
Ms. Howard?
5 total. 2022 simple battery DV. 2017-18 suspended license. The 2017 suspended license was a conviction.
Simple battery DV from which jurisdiction?
I don't know. It didn't have a disposition on it either, because I would have put it on here.
All right, Mr. Grimm?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. This incident took place February 7, 2024. Law enforcement responded to a dispute call at the Comfort Inn located at 5455 Windward Parkway in Alpharetta. Upon arrival, they made contact with Kazavee, Kazavee Ogletree, and she advised that she was in an altercation with Stephen Thomas, with whom she shares a 2-year-old child, and they've been living together at the Comfort Inn for about a month and a half. Ms. Ogletree told the officers that Mr. Thompson became upset when she was attempting to leave the hotel room. He began throwing objects around the room, pushed her to the ground when she walked toward the door, causing pain in her right foot. There were 2 witnesses that heard noises and screaming coming from the room. They heard Mr. Thompson yell, "I'll kill you, I'll skin you alive," at which point they alerted the hotel staff to call the police. One of the witnesses decided to check on Ms. Ogletree while they waited for police. She heard the baby crying inside of the room, knocked on the door. Mr. Thompson answered the door, saw the baby, and the witness saw the baby undressed and crying. She was able to get Ms. Ogletree and the baby out of the room into her room, waiting for the police. Mr. Thompson was not at the scene when law enforcement arrived. Ms. Ogletree also declined to provide any further information about what happened or the child's name. Our office also has not been able to contact Ms. Ogletree. The numbers were disconnected. The state is requesting a signature bond through pretrial services, 1-day anger awareness, no further contact with Kazavee Ogletree. Stay away from the Comfort Inn at 5455 Windward Parkway, and no alcohol, drugs, or weapons while out on bond.
I can't look in Odyssey, Judge. They don't want us to go on Odyssey.
I'm sorry, Mr. Howard, I can't hear you.
I said they don't want us to go on Odyssey, so I can't tell you.
Okay.
It was Fulton, but I can't tell you who the victim was.
All right. Yes. Ms. Atay, so apparently he's got another open case for simple battery domestic violence from 2022 in Fulton County. What's your response?
Your Honor, he believes that case was dismissed. Of course, I can't check Odyssey either, but it's an open case. He's presumed to be innocent of those charges, and any other history is traffic violation. So I would say he has very little history. He is fine with the no further contact and a stay away. And I would not object to the state's request for a signature bond through pretrial services. And I would accept the 1-day anger awareness if he's able to get a signature bond. Your Honor, my client is 33 years old. He has lived in Georgia for quite some time. He has strong ties to the community, and he is residentially challenged right now. Cannot afford a bond.
It's a $5,000 signature bond through pretrial services. He will report to pretrial twice a month. This is a level 2. Considering that he's got another DV case that's apparently still open, I don't have any way to verify otherwise. He's to have no further contact with Kazavee Ogletree and no further contact with the 2-year-old child in question. If he wants to have visitation or custody with the child he shares with Ms. Ogletree, he will need to file a legitimation action in the appropriate superior court and get a court order to establish visitation and custody. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, and no weapons and no firearms. And within 60 days of being released, he must enroll in a domestic violence intervention program. and complete those classes. He will report the enrollment to his pretrial officer and report every 2 weeks as to the progress of those classes. Within 30 days of being released, he must update the court as well with his new mailing address. He cannot return to the Comfort Inn at 5455 in Alpharetta, Georgia.
Judge, will you break that bond down, please?
5,000 on the simple battery is going to be 3,000. The terroristic threats and the cruelty are 1,000 each.
Thank you.
Mr. Thompson, if you violate any of the conditions of this bond, your signature bond will be revoked and converted to a cash bond or to a surety bond. Please be mindful that until there is an order, you are required to stay 200 yards away from Miss Ogletree, the 2-year-old child, and the Comfort Inn in question. You are allowed a one-time visit to the Comfort Inn. This happened on February 7th, so I don't think you have any personal items left there. Does he have any items there?
I believe he does, Your Honor.
Okay, then in that case, I'll allow him a one-time visit to the front desk of the Comfort Inn. He must have a police officer with him when he returns to that location. If there are no items there, or if there's a dispute as to whether he has items there, he must leave the premises immediately. There cannot be any breach of peace. If there's a breach of peace, he runs the risk of being arrested again and losing his signature bond. Thank you.
Next, we have position number 10, Wallace Sandra. She waived her appearance.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else on the calendar that is?
No.
All right. Miss Ate, is that your client?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Sandra Wallace, case is 24 CR 738, accused of battery from February 12th, 2024. And Miss Wallace has waived her appearance. Any priors on Miss Wallace, Mr. Howard?
Third arrest, 2019 battery DV, 2014 battery DV, dismissed.
Mr. Grant?
Yes, Your Honor, this incident took place on February 12th, 2024. Law enforcement were dispatched to Grady Hospital, 80 Jesse Hill Jr. Drive Southeast in Atlanta. Sandra Wallace, while receiving care, kicked Diana Cash, one of the nurses, in the face with both of her feet, causing Miss Cash's glasses to fly off of her face and resulting in a bruise to the left side of her eye. Ms. Cash noted that Miss Wallace also seemed to be very intoxicated and continued to threaten her after she was kicked in the face. Our office has been in contact with Miss Cash. She did confirm she's a nurse at Grady Hospital. She stated that Miss Wallace was trying to get up out of the bed. They were trying to prevent her from doing so because she's a fall risk. Then she started to hit and bite the nurses. She then swung her leg and kicked Miss Cash in the face.
Thank you. Miss Ate?
Your Honor, my client is 34 years old. She has lived in Georgia all her life. She is homeless right now. She was hit by a car as a pedestrian, of course. So she is severely injured. That's why she waived her appearance. She has a broken leg. She has injuries to both of her arms and her shoulders. Her head is bandaged up. She obviously arrived at Grady with severe injuries and, is now charged with a battery for kicking her leg. She states that she was in excruciating pain and they were trying to, fasten her arms to the bed to restrain her. And she doesn't really know what happened or what she did. She does deny any allegations that she, committed a battery. She was there to receive medical care, Your Honor. I think any injuries that happened would be,
All right.
the fault of the nurses.
fault of
And-
the nurses. Well, I'm.
Yes, well, I mean, they were.
Glad to hear that.
Pain, it kicked her leg because she was in excruciating pain. It's their professional responsibility to make sure that somebody can be.
Oh, Mr.
trained.
T. Okay, bond is going to be a 3,500 signature bond through the jail. She's to stay away from Grady Hospital unless she's seeking emergency treatment or she has a medical appointment.
And I'm sorry, Your Honor, I failed to mention that Ms. Cash did say she was going to be attending, and if we can just sound for the victim, just for the record.
I see a Noel Cash. Is that her?
Yes, that's the victim's name.
Nurse Cash?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry. Did you want to contribute to the proceeding?
I would love to, please.
All right, start your video then.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but I can only see you from nose up. Can you lower the device or raise? There we go. All right. Nurse Cash, if you'd like to be sworn in, do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So right now I've given Miss Wallace a $3,500. You can put your hand down.
Okay.
$3,500 signature bond through the jail. She cannot return to Grady unless she is got an appointment or whether she's seeking emergency treatment. And she's to have no further violent contact with, unless you want her to stay away from you completely, then other staff members would have to attend her if she's a checked-in patient.
Okay.
Are you comfortable with no contact or no further contact?
No contact.
All right. So no contact with Sandra, no, excuse me, not Sandra, Noel Cash. Excuse me, Diana Cash.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Diana.
Noel is
Cash.
my middle name. I apologize.
That's okay. No contact with Diana Cash. So if you see her as a patient there, just let the staff know that you can't attend her by court order.
Okay. I would also like to express what happened that day. She was trying to get out of bed. She did have a fracture in her lower extremity. We were trying to explain to her. At that point in time, she started trying to bite and hit everyone. We just needed her to get back in the stretcher. She already had some injuries to her face. It was for her protection. When we got her back up there, I can say the explicits she said while hitting and biting multiple staff members. She then said she didn't know who I thought I was. She did not accidentally kick me. She flung her feet up and kicked me in the face. And her words were, "Bitch, that was my good leg, and I'll do it again." This was intentional. According to Georgia law, intentional assault on a healthcare provider is a felony. I would like this to be a felony because if this continues, we are going to continue to have more violence.
Okay.
We are fleeing bedside because of the violence we have. My eye, as you can see, had other staff members not come in there, she would have done more.
Understood. Thank you. Well, if she gets arrested again, there goes her signature bond. Mr. Graham, you've already taken a note of the request by the victim. She's got a 3,500 signature bond through the jail, and it's up to her where she wants to seek her medical treatment. Though I'm not sure if Grady is going to be particularly welcoming. So thank you, Nurse Cash. Hope you recover soon. Thank you so much. All right, moving on. Next case.
Your Honor, we have 6 defendants in the courtroom that were not on the calendar.
All right. Mr. Walker and Mr. Graham. Have these cases been accused?
I'm here. Let's read the names. I can give you the rundown, Your Honor.
You ready, Mr. Walker?
Yes, Deputy Norris. I'm always ready.
All right. First one is Giovanni Screen.
Spell that, please.
Is Javauhny, and the last name is Skrine.
Yeah, we're going. I mean, the jail booked that person in with no paperwork, so we're going to have to NOD it because there's no paperwork.
I'm just getting the names. You all decide what you want to do.
Oh, well, I'm making the announcement.
Oh, okay. Giovanni Screen, you are going to NOD the case?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. What's the next name?
The next one is going to be Mignon, I need you guys to be quiet, so I will have a judgment to everybody. Mignon Turner. First,
Spell, please.
first name is spelled Mignon. Last name is Turner, Turner.
I think that will be an add-on. An accusation was submitted by ASG Graham. So that should be an add-on.
Okay. Next one.
Next one, first name Satori, Satori. Last name is Williams, common spelling.
All right.
Williams. I have to look into that one. Can we
May
go-
I have the charge, please, if you have it?
We have a case for Williams. It was just
Battery
left off the counter
FB.
by mistake.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I think was that Mr. Jordan speaking?
Yes, we have a case for Williams. It was left off the counter by mistake.
Okay, so that's gonna be
So
an
we
add-on.
have
Deputy
Williams
Norris.
acquisition, and I think we just received 2 more for.
Okay, so Williams will be an add-on, Mr. Norris, Deputy Norris.
All right. Next is Amari, Amari. Last name is Diallo, Diallo.
So if you look at his charges, that's a felony case. It's literally a felony warrant. So I'm not sure why he was put on the pull sheet.
Okay.
So Amari Diallo will have to go to the 11 a.m. first appearance tomorrow.
Correct, Your Honor.
Ian, who did you send the pad?
We don't know yet. Let's finish with Deputy Norris, please. Deputy Norris, after Diallo.
Next one is Tiffany Hollis. First name Tiff.
Hollis will be an NOD.
NOD, okay.
Yes, Deputy Norris and Your Honor.
All right, thank you. And the next one?
It's gonna be Jerissa Thomas. First name spelling Jarissa. Last name Thomas, common spelling.
And charges?
Actually doesn't even have the charges written on the.
Simple battery.
Thank you, Ms. Bridgewater.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and Mr. Howard, what were you gonna ask?
Who did he send the pad?
Oh,
Okay, I'll come back to Thomas. And the 2 people that were sent to pad were Greer and last name is, it looks like nephew, but there's no H.
Oh, okay.
Nepew.
Yeah, I saw it on the pull sheet.
Yeah,
Lionel
Greer.
nephew. I'm gonna call him nephew too. Lionel nephew.
okay.
Those are the 2 pad referrals.
Yeah, that's the correct spelling.
We will have to, if I could just have a second, I don't know if ASG Graham knows, but I'll have to look into Thomas.
So what was the other case you said that you NOD? Was it Mitchell?
Hollis, Mitchell,
Screen.
Brian.
The cases that have been NOD'd are Jabari Scrine and Tiffany Hollis. Amari Diallo is going to be transferred to felony C. And the other case, just Jerissa Thomas, Mr. Walker is going to look into that.
Correct. And Mitchell was also NOD, Your Honor.
Oh, Mitchell, which one was that?
Okay, and I'll be back with the case number for Turner.
What about Crosby, Ian?
That was handled yesterday, but they were on the pull sheet.
Okay.
He's released. He's released.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, so Mr. Cook and Ms. Atay, you're looking at Mignon Turner, Satori Williams, and Jerissa Thomas.
So we have a case for Turner and Williams, and I'll be back with those. We're just waiting on Thomas.
Okay.
I got the histories too when you're ready. So
Your Honor, may I ask Mr. Walker a quick question on, beyond what charge is a felony? Our paperwork's a little thin here these days.
I don't, give me a sec. It's the second
Diallo.
warrant.
It was Diallo.
Diallo was the felony, but it's his second warrant. I would have to look it up, but it's part of the same case, the same date, the same time.
Okay.
But the second warrant in the warrant packet for Diallo.
Okay. Okay.
I want to say it's an obstruction, but I would have to confirm that.
Mr.
No, I
Walker?
took it back. It's interference with government property.
Okay.
He kicked out the windshield of a police officer's car.
Yes, okay.
All right, Mr. Walker, would 10 minutes be enough time?
Oh, no, 2 minutes will be enough time, Your
Okay,
Honor.
we'll be in a 5-minute recess then.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. We can pause the recording or whichever. All right, Miss Ataya, Mr. Cook, do you need time to speak with your clients?
Something else.
No, we've interviewed everyone.
No, we've interviewed everyone, Your Honor.
Okay, all right. Let's go ahead and start with,
No, it's not.
okay, the prosecutor will have to give us the name and the accusation number and the charges before we proceed, since I don't have a calendar at the present time. All right, so Mr. Graham, who would you like to call first?
So I guess we'll start with Mignon Turner, if we can, Your Honor.
Okay, Mignon Turner, please come to the front.
And Your Honor, just for your reference, all the case numbers, defendant's name and charges are in the chat if you would like to reference them.
Oh, okay, appreciate it. Thank you. All right, Mignon Turner. There we go. Mignon Turner case number is 24 CR 000-741 and is charged with criminal trespass causing damage to property from February 12th, 2024, I guess from yesterday. And Ms. Turner, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Ms. Atay. Do you have the history on Mignon Turner?
Yeah, first arrest, 17 years old.
All right, thank you. Mr. Graham?
Thank you, Your Honor. Yeah, this incident did take place on February 12th, 2024. Law enforcement responded to 525 Bradley Court in Fairburn. They met with Mignon Turner. She advised that she was upset because her mother, Demetria Turner, would not allow her to use the washing machine. She broke some glass items. She threw some food in the trash can, and she kicked a hole in the door to the laundry room. Our office has spoken with the mother, Demetria Turner. She confirmed the events in the warrant. She stated this is not the first time that her daughter has acted out and acted this way, but it was the first time the police have been called. She stated that the daughter has gone through the juvenile court system, but this is the first time she's been arrested, and she's out of control. She does not want the daughter to return to the home. She stated that she will be on Zoom. And so we can solve for the victim at the end of the presentation. The state is requesting a signature bond through pretrial services. Anger awareness, no further contact with Demetria Turner, stay away from 525 Bradley Court, no drugs, weapons, or alcohol.
All right, this is with regards to Demetria Turner. Ms. Turner, I do see your name on the Zoom. If you'd like to add to the proceedings, you'll need to unmute and start your audio, your video.
Yes.
Ms. Turner, would you like to say something?
No.
All right. I have a question though. Is there another relative or family member with whom Mignon Turner could stay with?
No, not that I know of.
So if she's 17, she's still underage. If she cannot go home,
Okay.
we'll be practically homeless.
Okay.
Do you have another friend or relative who's willing to house her?
I don't know anyone.
Thank you. All right, Ms. Atay?
Yes, Your Honor. My client is only 17 years old. She has her pretrial state. Again, she does have nowhere else to go. This is her first arrest. I would ask for a signature bond through pretrial services and a no violent contact. And nothing further, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Turner, does your client have an alternative place to stay? A parent, a grandparent, an aunt, someone?
She has nobody else that she can stay with. I believe this is the only family that she has here is her mother. And she lives at the home with her mother and two brothers. And Your Honor, it's a criminal trespass damage to property.
All right.
I think a stay away for a 17-year-old is excessive in this case.
All right, Mrs. Turner, if you come back on Zoom, please. Demetria Turner.
Yes.
You need to start your video. Are you lying down?
I'm sitting in my bed chilling.
Get out of bed. Go to a chair. You're in court. You're not at a party. Good Lord. What the heck does chilling mean? Okay. Anyways, Miss Turner, as Mignon Turner is a minor and you are her biological parent, I'm going to require her under the circumstances that she can return home. And since she is a resident of the property, she is allowed to return home. I'm not going to put a restriction. However, if you still want her to leave the home, you would need to file a dispossessory action. It is a civil matter, and you can consult with an attorney on how to do that. Do you understand?
Yes.
All right. Now, Mignon Turner, I'm going to allow you to return home, but it's up to you whether you want to stay there or whether you do not. If you do find an alternative place to stay, you're required to update the court with your new mailing address. Do you understand?
Yes.
All right. So your bond is going to be set at $2,500. It's going to be a signature bond through pretrial services. I'm not going to require a co-signer as I normally do. Well, actually, she's 17, so we'll need a co-signer. We need.
Judge, can I speak? Can it be a non-violent contact? Because
Stop talking. Stop talking. Stop talking. As Mignon Turner is underage and she's 18 and under 18 and doesn't have the capacity to contract, Demetria Turner will have to come down to pretrial services and sign out her bond, co-sign her bond. Do you understand, Mr.?
I will not co-sign Mignon bonds. Mignon can find somebody else to co-sign her bond for her. But I was asking if you could do a non-violent contact.
I am going to do a no violent contact. I am going to do that.
Okay, thank you.
Now, why aren't you going to co-sign her bond?
Because Mignon does not respect me as a mother, as a grown person, period. She could have somebody else. She can find somebody else to do that for her.
Understood. Thank you.
Your Honor, she doesn't
Yeah,
have
okay.
anybody to sign her bond for her.
I'm sorry?
She doesn't have anybody else to sign the bond.
Mignon has many people to sign.
Mrs. Turner, you're not engaged in a conversation. I just want you on Zoom to observe what's going on. So this is the tragedy of the family structure where there's an outburst and someone doesn't understand the hand that feeds them. And this is what happens when young children are rendered homeless just because of the lack of respect to an older person. Ms. Mignon Turner, I'm sure you have bona fide reasons for your outburst, but one thing leads to another, and this is a consequence where you are in open court, where your case is being live streamed for the whole world to see how you are going to be rendered homeless and where a parent is willing to abandon you just because of these alleged circumstances. I don't know what is more embarrassing than this. But right now, your bond is $2,500. It's going to be a signature bond through pretrial. I'm just going to dispense with a co-signer at this point. Miss Turner, you're going to have to find your own way home since I doubt your mother is going to come down and pick you up and bring you home. You are allowed to go back to the home. Demetria Turner is not allowed to change the locks or bar entry for Mignon Turner into the family home. Like I said, if you want Mignon Turner out of the house, you need to go and file a civil action. The other thing I want to mention is, Miss Mignon Turner, you are not allowed to consume any illegal drugs, no alcohol, and you're definitely not allowed to own any weapons or any firearms. You are to have no violent contact with Demetria Turner. There cannot be any future altercations that involve property damage or any physical or verbal altercation with your mother. She's the head of the household, the owner of the house, and you better show her some respect if you want to live under the same roof. If you do not want to live under the same roof, then you have some decisions to make as to where you want to live. If you change your address, you're required by law to update the court with your new mailing address. And while you are reporting to pretrial once a month, you will undergo a 2-day anger awareness program. As I said, if you get arrested again for anything else, or if you do not report to court, then the signature bond will be revoked and you'll end up staying in jail until you're able to afford a bond. Any questions, Ms. Mignon Turner?
No.
All right, thank you. Now you're free to go, Ms. Demetria. Thank you very much.
Judge, who's co-signing? Who's co-signing?
Nobody's going to co-sign. The mother refuses to co-sign.
I don't know if they're gonna let the 17-year-old out without a cosigner through pretrial, so.
Miss Ate, your client needs a cosigner. Any options?
I asked her several
Hey,
times.
I'm not feeling this. Can we have a breakout session, please, briefly? Because I have concerns.
All right, the issue of the bond is right now, signature bond, I need a cosigner. So let's think about this. Miss Turner, while you're seated back there, you have to rack your brain to contact someone who's willing to co-sign your bond.
Your Honor, the state's requesting, but I know we're at the end of the calendar and I'm ready to go like everybody else, but if we could just have a breakout session.
We will, but next
Please.
case we're going to
Okay.
address is Satori Williams.
Okay, then we'll come back.
Satori Williams is 24 CR 000742, accused of battery, family violence from February 12, 2024. Ms. Williams, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Ms. Atay.
6 total. 2022 shoplifting, 2018 possession of marijuana, possession of a Schedule 1 narcotic, 2013 criminal damage to property. That's all.
Mr. Grant?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. This incident took place February 12th, 2024. Law enforcement were dispatched to 2134 Martin Luther King Jr. Drive, Southwest in Atlanta. Upon arrival, the officers met with Aaron Rogers, who stated that he and his girlfriend, Satori Williams, had an argument the previous night. When he woke up to get ready for work the morning of the 12th, she was still upset and unprovoked started punching him in the face. Mr. Rogers advised that Ms. Williams then left the residence with her, leaving her 3-year-old son behind. When she returned to the residence, the law enforcement were on the scene. She was detained. Ms. Williams told the officers that they did have a verbal dispute and that Mr. Rogers made her punch him in the face. She then recanted, stated that she never put hands on him, and that Mr. Rogers caused his own injuries. Officers did observe major swelling and dark bruising to Mr. Rogers' left eye. Our office has not been in contact with the victim, but if we can sound for the victim in accordance with Marcy's law, the state is requesting a signature bond through pretrial services, anger awareness, no further contact with Aaron Rogers, stay away from 2134 MLK Jr. Drive, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons.
Never thought I'd say this on Zoom, but Aaron Rogers, are you present? No, not here. Ms. Atay?
Yes, Your Honor. My client is 31 years old. She has been living at the 2134 MLK Drive for over a year. She does deny the allegations in the warrant. She states that she never made any physical contact with the complaining witness, but that he wants her and her 3-year-old autistic son out of the home. And this is the way that he decided to accomplish that goal. He states that he told her, bitch, you don't bring nothing to the table. You can't, I can't use your son on the taxes. And he got mad and he did this to get her out. She does deny the allegations. She has been staying on and off in domestic violence shelters. I would say that she should be able to return to the incident location. I wasn't able to get in touch with the complaining witness, but you know, he had her stuff thrown out and threw her and her son out of the home, Your Honor. She does need to get out of jail, though. She has a 3-year-old autistic child who's nonverbal. She cares for him full time, and that's why she's not working currently, because she's not comfortable leaving him in someone else's care. I would ask for a signature bond through the jail. I object to any anger awareness. She has no violent history. I mean, maybe that old criminal damage to property, and nothing further.
Bond is set at $1,000. It's going to be a signature bond through pretrial services. She will have to report to pretrial once a month and undertake the anger awareness class with pretrial. There's nothing to pay for if you go through pretrial.
No, I was just asking a 1-day anger awareness.
Yeah, 1 day. No contact with Aaron Rogers. She is to stay away from 2134 MLK Jr. Drive. She can return one time with a police officer to retrieve her belongings and her children, of course, if they're still there. And no illegal drugs, no alcohol, and no weapons. And within 30 days of being released, she needs to update the court with her mailing address, her new address. Thank you.
I got to add on one, Miss Thomas.
Jerissa Thomas, case number is 24CR 0000740, accused of simple battery on February 12th, 2024. Mr. Graham, is this a family violence matter or just
It's just a
regular?
simple battery, Your Honor.
Okay. The incident date is February 12th of this year, and Ms. Thomas, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Ms. Atay. Any priors, Mr. Howard?
Second arrest, 2017 ag assault, first offender. She's on probation until 2027. They gave her 10 years for that.
Mr. Grant?
Thank you, Your Honor. This incident took place February 12th, 2024. Law enforcement responded to the Snipes store that's inside of Greenbrier Mall at 2841 Greenbrier Parkway. Upon arrival, they spoke with Jerissa Thomas, who stated that she was leaving the store after declining to purchase some items. One of the employees made a disparaging comment about her. She told the police officer that one of the other employees then pepper sprayed her, and the two employees together proceeded to fight her. The responding officer took a statement from the two employees. One, Janijah Sharp, Janijah Sharp, Sharpe. She advised that Ms. Thomas became confrontational after she had left the store and overheard a conversation between she and Marquez Owens. She came back into the store to confront them. A verbal altercation ensued between Ms. Thomas and Mr. Owens. Ms. Sharp got in between the two of them, asked Ms. Thomas to leave the store several times. Ms. Thomas then threatened to hit Ms. Sharp with her umbrella. At that time, she did hit Ms. Sharp with the umbrella. Ms. Sharp did pepper spray her. Physical altercation started with Mr. Owens breaking it up before the law enforcement arrived. Officers did not notice any visible injuries on Ms. Sharp, but did notice an umbrella in Ms. Thomas's hands. Our office has spoken with the victim. She is the manager at that store location. She confirmed the events in the warrant. She stated that she has seen Ms. Thomas before, but this was the first time they've had an altercation. She stated that she would like for Ms. Thomas to stay away from the store, no further contact with her. She indicated she would not be on Zoom, but we would like to sound for the victim in accordance with Marcy's law. The state is requesting signature bond through pretrial services, anger awareness, no further contact with Janijah Sharp or Marquez Owens. And the state is requesting to stay away from the Greenbrier Mall in its entirety, no drugs, weapons, or alcohol.
All right. Ms. Atay?
Yes, Your Honor. My client is 32 years old. She does have 2 minor children. She's a high school graduate. She also graduated from Atlanta Technical College. She works full-time. She firmly denies the allegations in the warrant. My client called 911 because she was attacked by 3 store associates, both verbally and physically, and she was pepper sprayed, and she denies any allegations that she was an aggressor at all, Your Honor. I think the warrant does reflect that there were 3 store associates, and she states that she never once picked up an umbrella. So I would ask for a signature bond through the jail and no further contact with those complaining witnesses, and stay away is fine. But I would object to the 1-day anger awareness.
Bond is set at $1,500. It's the signature bond through pretrial services. No contact with Janiyah, was it Morgan? Oh, Janiyah Sharp and Morgan Weiss. I can't read my writing, so Is that correct, Mr. Graham?
Marquez Owens is the.
Marquez Owens, that's what it was.
Yes, Your Honor.
Marquez Owens and Gianna Sharp. I think I got that right. Stay away from the Snipe store and the entire Greenbrier Mall at Greenbrier Parkway, and just have to do your shopping elsewhere. Report to pretrial once a month, and if you change address, make sure that we are informed of your new address and contact information. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, I think those were the 3 cases on our add-on. Anything else? We're going into a breakout. I'm sorry, did somebody want to have a question? Ms. Atade, I think Ms. Williams has a question.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, did you sound for me?
I was saying you wanted a breakout for the.
I still want to break out. I'm actually on the phone with the social worker, but yes, we still need to break out.
Yeah, okay.
And if we can have me, okay, with the social workers actually won't come on, so we can just have a breakout and we'll figure something out for this particular defendant. So we can have me, Miss Cheney, ASG Graham, and then also I was gonna ask Pat if they can come on.
And Ms. Atade.
Yeah, well, yes, Mr. Tay as well.
Actually, with the courtroom empty, I can just pause the YouTube live stream if you want to do it that way.
That's fine. Whatever's easiest, that's fine as well, Your Honor.
Okay.
So we gonna still need,